Hi there, my name is Lawrence Palmer. I work for a company called DMMP, and we manufacture spreaders under the brand name of Cresco. And we've been working with Seaton for around 10 years, I think. And as you can see here, we have the private label that we offer Seaton called Winter Extreme. Here we have two of our offerings of spreaders. We have the Winter Extreme 20 and the Winter Extreme 30. The one we don't have is a 10, and the difference between them is the 10 has the pneumatic wheels. That's at the lower end of the market, so that's around £120. We then move up to a £200 offering and then a £450 offering. So the biggest question is, why buy the Seaton spreaders over some of the other offerings out there? And it really sort of boils down to the pain point of the people spreading salt. If you've ever spread salt, it's not that fun at 5 in the morning on a freezing cold morning. And if your spreader breaks down, it's really not fun. You probably have to do it by hand or with a bucket and sort of toss it all around the car parking area. And so the biggest thing is you want consistency of the spreader. You want to have faith in it that it's actually going to spread salt, and you want it to last a long time, because obviously you don't want to be buying it, 3 spreaders in a year, or you want it to last a couple of years. Now, the most difficult thing about that is not actually the longevity. That is often down to how well the person looks after the spreader, but it's actually spreading salt is really difficult. Salt's a really coarse material. It corrodes any type of metal, and as soon as moisture is added to salt, it clumps together and you won't be able to spread it. So what we concentrate on, and we're now only manufacturing, we concentrate on just bringing in the raw materials. We put all of our profits back into research and development, and we do that in order to provide spreaders that work. So this is what you'll see on most spreaders, and the reason you'll see it is because selling spreaders is very niche. You have 2 markets. You have a winter market and a summer market, and you need to be able to sell into both, otherwise you're not going to make any money at all. Now, you sell fertilizer in the summer, but if you were to have a winter application, salt, remember, it clumps together, and so on small holes it won't get through very easily. If you were to just sell this, a spreader with this application at the bottom, you can no longer sell that into the spring market, because this will burn the lawn if you're spreading fertilizer through it, or you will overseed your lawn if you try and spread seed through this. And so what manufacturers tend to do is they mold the hopper, the plastic mold of the hopper, with 3 holes built in. So you have no choice. And unless your salt is really high grade and you're spreading in dry conditions, wet salt is just going to find it difficult to go through small holes. So to start off with, you need a large application. And I keep on swapping these around, but essentially what we've done through our technology is we've made them interchangeable. So at the bottom of any of our spreaders, you can simply take the winter slide system out and put a summer or spring slide system in. If you're spreading ice melt, so like really high grade stuff, it's better wearing against kind of moisture. You can then control the amount of ice melt that's put down in your area, and you can also dictate kind of how the spread pattern goes. With salt it's more difficult because you're just concentrating on the salt going through the hopper, and again, anytime salt is exposed to the elements, moisture is going to get in. It makes it hard to spread. So with that being said, we have the large application hole, but then you also have a few other items on our spreaders which we've put in, and it's all to do with trying to get salt through in a spiral manner through the hole at the bottom. And one of the biggest ways to continue to allow salt through the hopper is with pneumatic wheels. If you have a plastic wheel option, on all these spreaders, you have one drive wheel. So you can see the impeller being driven there by the right wheel. Now if I go on to the left, it won't do anything. So if that drive wheel locks up, it will no longer spread at all. And plastic wheels, they don't have the same traction as pneumatic wheels. So if you're trying to spread on an icy surface, the tendency for it to lock up is quite high. So you want pneumatic wheels. The hopper is built in the mold is specially designed to try and increase the amount of flow of any material in directly over the hole. And then everything else on this item is just built for longevity. At the back, you'll see a solid rod linkage. Now, on most spreaders out on the market, you'll get a plastic wire. And what happens again is when moisture hits salt, it becomes saline eventually, and the saline solution will go in between the plastic wire covering and the wire itself will just rust. And that can happen within 2 to 3 operations. So you really want a solid rod linkage. The last thing for longevity is the gearbox. You don't want a metal gearbox. Some people think, oh, metal gearbox must be better. That's not true, because metal is just going to rust. It's exposed to salt, and as soon as the salt or the saline solution gets in that gearbox covering, your gearbox is very susceptible to being rusted. So we've slapped a 2-year warranty on the gearbox. We continually reinforce them. We continually test them to make sure that they're strong enough to do the job. We then upgrade to the 30, and this is where you get quite a few more sales points. You have, and the biggest one goes back to helping the spreader spread salt and creating that good flow of material down through the hopper into the application hole. And as you can see there, what we've done is we've added an application that just moves the salt above the application hole, and that will just increase the flow and the spread. The best way to describe that is you get huge gritters. They spend hundreds of thousands on figuring out ways to move salt and keep it moving and flowing through a application hole. And they do that with vibrator motors, corkscrews that are highly mechanized. With push spreaders, all we have is gravity on our side. So the only force going through that is gravity. It pushes down. So we've got to try as much as possible to keep the salt moving, and that will help the flow of salt and help the person spread. So to recap, you've got your guy outside, 5 AM, terrible. He doesn't want to be there. He wants to get back inside as quickly as possible. He has an option of buying something for £100. Plastic wheels, plastic wire coverings. It will break down in 2 to 3. Maybe it will last sort of 5 spreading sessions. The further you go up, the more salt, the easier spreading salt will be, but then the longer your spreader is going to last. And ultimately, over 5 years, you're going to be much better off purchasing something for 450 quid or 200 quid than buying multiple spreaders, probably 2 to 3 spreaders per season each year, which keep on breaking down. This is Lawrence talking about spreaders for the winter extreme range of spreaders.